Welcome aboard, everyone! We're about to embark on a hyper-fast journey through some of the most absurd butterfly effect moments in human history. We're talking about those tiny, seemingly totally insignificant details that scaled up to have massive, literally world-altering consequences.
But first, a really quick pre-flight safety disclaimer. Seriously, take this to heart. High-velocity history ahead. Fasten those seatbelts. We are going to blast through a sheer volume of mind-boggling, reality-bending facts at a breakneck pace today. There is absolutely no time for the boring stuff. We're flying direct, and we are flying fast.
All right, Part 1, the $40,000 Olive, American Airlines, 1987.
Okay, let's dive straight into this. The year is 1987. Just imagine you're sitting right there in the luxurious first-class cabin of an American Airlines flight. Everything seems totally normal, right? You're enjoying your meal, but behind the scenes, corporate is quietly executing an absolute genius cost-saving maneuver right on your dinner tray.
And here is the sheer brilliance of it. Just one olive removed. That was it. That was their entire brilliant micro-level strategy. American Airlines decided to pull exactly one single olive from every first-class salad they served. I mean, it seems completely insignificant, a totally invisible change to the consumer.
The result of that tiny tweak? A staggering $40,000. By scaling that one removed olive across thousands and thousands of meals, they saved an absolute fortune in 1987 money. And honestly, this beautifully cements our explainer's theme for today, the historical butterfly effect. Small changes, massive consequences. Moving right along to Section 2. Tiny details, massive ripples, when flukes change the world.
Let's fast cut to Munich, Germany. The year is 1931. A 19-year-old British aristocrat named John Scott Ellis is just driving his red Fiat down the street. It's a normal day, an average drive, nothing special.
But here is where history literally almost broke. The wrong turn that almost ended Hitler. Ellis's car nearly ran over the future dictator. It was just a near miss. Hitler walked away with only minor bruises, and because of that one survival, the entire trajectory of the 20th century was completely altered.
Decades later, Ellis delivered this incredibly stark, chilling quote. For a few seconds, perhaps, I held the history of Europe in my rather clumsy hands. It just brilliantly illustrates the terrifying what-if of this historical fluke. One tap of the brakes, one slightly different turn of the wheel, and the entire world is different today.
You know, flukes don't just shape geopolitics, they totally shape our everyday language too. Back in 1947, engineers working on Harvard's Mark II computer were trying to find the cause of a massive malfunction. And it wasn't a coding error, it was a literal moth stuck in the relay. They actually taped the insect right into their logbook. So a tiny, insignificant moth permanently defined our modern tech vocabulary, a literal computer bug.
Okay, Section 3. Accidental inventions. Mistakes that made history. Picture this. It's 1945, and engineer Percy Spencer is just casually fiddling with a high-powered radar set. Suddenly, he notices the chocolate bar sitting in his pocket has completely melted into goo. But instead of panicking, he realizes the radar's high-powered microwaves actually cooked his snack. And boom! He accidentally invents the microwave oven. A ruined piece of candy gave us the ultimate kitchen convenience.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4. Bizarre wars and absurd battles. History's wildest conflicts.
Let's do a rapid-fire contrast of two incredible extremes here. On the left side, we've got the shortest war in recorded history, the Anglo-Zanzibar War, clocking in at a blazing 38 minutes. On the right, one of the longest, the Netherlands-Scilly War, dragging on for a mind-numbing 335 years.
And the outcomes are honestly deeply ironic. The British opened fire in Zanzibar at 9:02 a.m., and by 9:40 a.m., the Sultan fled. I mean, that's less time than your favorite sitcom episode. But look down at the Netherlands-Scilly conflict. 335 years and 0 casualties. Why? Well, because they literally just forgot to formally declare peace. Not a single shot was ever fired.
Speaking of bizarre, unexpected destruction. That is the staggering number of gallons unleashed on Boston in 1919 when a massive storage tank burst. It created this terrifying reality, a 15-foot wave of dark, sticky molasses just ripping through the streets at 35 miles per hour. It violently destroyed buildings and tragically took 21 lives. It's an incredibly deadly yet profoundly absurd historical disaster. It really proves reality is just way stranger than fiction.
Initiating our final descent into history now with Section 5.
The unkillables.
Just take a look at the life of Titanic stoker Arthur Priest. This guy was an absolute accidental genius of survival. As a stoker, he worked deep down in the ship's bowels, which is literally the worst possible place to be during a sinking. Yet, look at this list. He survived collisions on the Asturias and the Olympic. He survived the catastrophic sinking of the Titanic in 1912, the Alcantara and the Britannic in 1916, and the Donegal in 1917. The man simply refused to go down with the ship.
So the crucial point here is that some people are just miraculously hard to kill. Which brings us to this staggering number, 634. According to Cuban intelligence, that is the number of separate assassination plots that Cuban leader Fidel Castro survived. 634. We're talking poisoned cigars, exploding seashells, toxic diving suits, the list just goes on, but none of it worked.
Which perfectly sets up this incredibly punchy quote from Castro himself. He clearly viewed his own invincibility with a massive sense of humor, joking, "If surviving assassination attempts were an Olympic sport, I'd win gold." He truly was history's most persistently targeted and consistently surviving man.
As we wrap up this hyper-fast flight, I really want to leave you with a final, provocative thought. If removing one single olive saved an airline $40,000 and one wrong turn in a red Fiat nearly stopped World War II, what tiny, seemingly insignificant detail is changing your history right now? Because the butterfly effect is happening all around us, in our own lives, every single second of the day. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and until next time, keep your eyes on the tiny details.